Sarah walked down the empty street. The sun was going down, and the sky was turning orange. She looked at her phone again. Still no message from Tom. He was supposed to meet her at the coffee shop 2 hours ago. She stopped at the corner and looked both ways. The traffic light was broken and flashing yellow. Cars moved slowly through the intersection. Sarah decided to cross the street and go home instead of waiting any longer. Her apartment was on the 3rd floor of an old building. The stairs creaked as she walked up. She could hear Mrs. Chun cooking dinner next door. The smell of garlic and onions filled the hallway. Sarah's stomach made a noise. She had not eaten since breakfast. Sarah opened her door and dropped her bag on the floor. The apartment was dark and quiet. She turned on the lights and went to the kitchen. The refrigerator was almost empty. There was some bread, a few eggs, and half a bottle of milk. She decided to make scrambled eggs for dinner. While the eggs cooked, Sarah thought about Tom. They had been friends since college. He was usually very reliable. If he said he would be somewhere, he would be there. Something must have happened to make him miss their meeting. Sarah ate her eggs while standing at the kitchen counter. She looked out the window at the building across the street. Most of the windows were dark. A few people were still awake, watching television or reading books. Sarah felt alone in the big city. After dinner, she sat on her couch and turned on the TV. The news was on. The reporter was talking about a car accident on the highway. Sarah's heart started beating faster. What if Tom was in an accident? What if that was why he did not come to meet her? She picked up her phone and called Tom's number. It went straight to voicemail. His voice sounded happy and normal on the recording. "Hi, you've reached Tom. Leave a message and I'll call you back." Sarah hung up without leaving a message. Sarah tried to watch a movie but could not concentrate. Her mind kept thinking about Tom. Maybe he forgot about their meeting. Maybe he was busy with work. Or maybe something bad had happened to him. She did not know what to think. At 10 o'clock, Sarah heard footsteps in the hallway. Someone was walking up the stairs. The footsteps stopped at her door. Sarah looked through the peephole but could not see anyone. Then she heard a soft knock. "Sarah, are you there?" "It's me, Tom." Sarah opened the door quickly. Tom was standing there with flowers in his hand. His clothes were dirty and his hair was messy. He looked tired, but he was smiling. "Tom, where have you been?" "I was so worried about you." "I'm sorry, Sarah. Something crazy happened today. Can I come in? I need to tell you everything." Sarah let Tom into her apartment. He sat down on the couch and put the flowers on the coffee table. They were daisies, Sarah's favorite flowers. But they looked old, and some of the petals were falling off. "I was on my way to meet you at the coffee shop," Tom began. "I was walking down 5th Street when I saw this old man fall down. He was carrying groceries, and everything spilled on the sidewalk. I went to help him." Sarah sat down next to Tom. "That was nice of you to help him." "Well, when I helped him stand up, he grabbed my arm really tight. He looked scared. He said some men were following him. I thought he was just confused, you know. Old people sometimes get mixed up." Tom paused and ran his hand through his messy hair. "But then I saw 2 men in dark suits walking toward us. They did not look friendly. The old man whispered something to me. He said I had to take his bag and keep it safe." "What bag?" Sarah asked. Tom pointed to a small brown bag sitting by the door. Sarah had not noticed it when Tom came in. "That bag. The old man said it was very important. He said bad people wanted it, and I had to hide it." Sarah looked at the bag. It looked ordinary, like something you might get at the grocery store. "What's inside it?" "I don't know. The old man told me not to open it. He said to wait until someone came to get it. Someone who would say a special word." "What special word? Butterfly?" Sarah stared at Tom. This sounded like something from a movie. not real life. Tom, are you sure this really happened? Maybe the old man was sick or confused. That's what I thought too. But then those two men came over to us. They were not nice, Sarah. They grabbed the old man and started asking him questions. They wanted to know where the bag was. Tom stood up and walked to the window. He looked down at the street. I had already hidden the bag behind a trash can. The old man was smart. He had given it to me just in time. What happened to the old man? The men took him away in a black car. Before they left, one of them looked right at me. He had cold eyes, Sarah. Really cold. I got scared and ran away. Sarah felt scared too, just listening to Tom's story. Maybe we should call the police. I tried to call the police from a phone booth, but my phone was dead, and I did not have any money for the payphone. I had to walk all the way across town to get home and get my charger. Tom sat back down on the couch. Sarah, I think we might be in trouble. What if those men saw me take the bag? What if they followed me here? Sarah looked at the brown bag again. It seemed so small and harmless. But if Tom's story was true, it might be very dangerous. Did you see what kind of car they drove? It was a big black car, expensive looking. The license plate started with the letters JKL. I tried to remember the numbers, but I was too scared. Sarah went to her kitchen and got 2 glasses of water. She gave one to Tom and sat back down. Tom, what do you think is in that bag? I have no idea. The old man said it was important, but he did not tell me what it was. He just said to keep it safe until the right person came for it. How long do we have to wait? He said someone would come within a few days, maybe sooner. Sarah felt her heart beating fast again. She lived a quiet, normal life. She worked at a bookstore and went to school at night. She was not ready for this kind of adventure or danger. Tom, what if no one comes? What if we're stuck with this bag forever? I don't know, Sarah, but the old man seemed really scared. I think we have to help him. Sarah nodded. Tom was right. If an old man was in trouble, they should try to help him. But she was still scared. What if those men in the black car found them? What if the bag contained something illegal or dangerous? We should be very careful, Sarah said. Maybe we should not stay here tonight. What if those men are looking for you? Tom looked worried. You're right. But where can we go? Sarah thought for a moment. My cousin has a cabin outside the city. It's about an hour away. We could go there and wait for someone to come for the bag. That sounds like a good idea. But what if the person looking for the bag can't find us? The old man said someone would come, right? Maybe they have a way to find us. Tom picked up the brown bag and held it carefully. This little bag has caused a lot of trouble already. Sarah got up and started packing some clothes in a small suitcase. We should leave tonight. It will be safer to travel in the dark. As Sarah packed, she wondered what she was getting herself into. A few hours ago, her biggest worry was Tom missing their coffee date. Now she was packing to run away with a mysterious bag that dangerous men wanted, but Tom was her best friend. If he was in trouble, she would help him. That's what friends do for each other. Sarah and Tom left the apartment building through the back door. The alley was dark and quiet. Tom carried the brown bag in his backpack. Sarah had her small suitcase and some food for their trip. They walked carefully to Sarah's car. It was parked 2 blocks away on a side street. Every few steps, they looked around to make sure no one was following them. The city seemed different at night. Every shadow looked dangerous. Sarah's car was old but reliable. She had bought it 3 years ago when she first moved to the city. The engine made noise when it started, but it always ran. Tom put their bags in the back seat and got in. Which way to your cousin's cabin? Tom asked. We take the highway north for about 40 minutes. Then we turn off on a small road that goes into the mountains. Sarah started the car and drove slowly out of the city. The highway was mostly empty. A few trucks were carrying goods to other cities. Some late workers were driving home. Sarah kept checking her mirrors to see if anyone was following them. She did not see any black cars. After 30 minutes of driving, Tom spoke up. Sarah, I keep thinking about that old man. What if those men hurt him? Don't think about that now, Tom. We're doing what he asked us to do. We're keeping the bag safe. But what if we're making a mistake? What if we should have given the bag to the police? Sarah had been thinking the same thing. But something about Tom's story made her believe they were doing the right thing. The old man had seemed really scared. He had trusted Tom with something important. Let's wait and see what happens, Sarah said. If someone comes for the bag like the old man said, and we'll know we did the right thing. They turned off the highway onto a narrow road. The trees on both sides were tall and thick. Sarah's headlights showed the way through the darkness. The road went up into the mountains. It had many curves and was hard to drive at night. How much further? Tom asked. About 10 more minutes. The cabin is at the end of this road. As they drove higher into the mountains, the air got cooler. Sarah rolled down her window a little bit. She could smell pine trees and hear owls calling in the forest. It was peaceful here, very different from the busy city. Finally, they reached the cabin. It was small and made of wood. Sarah's cousin used it for weekend trips and summer vacations. There was no one else around for miles. It was the perfect place to hide. Sarah parked the car behind the cabin where it could not be seen from the road. They took their bags and went inside. Sarah knew where her cousin kept the spare key. She had been to the cabin many times before. The cabin had one big room with a kitchen, living area, and fireplace. There was also a small bedroom and bathroom. It was simple but comfortable. Sarah turned on the lights and checked that everything was working. Tom sat down at the kitchen table and put the brown bag in front of him. I still can't believe this is happening. This morning I was worried about a test at work. Now I'm hiding in the mountains with a mysterious bag. Sarah made some coffee and sat down across from Tom. Life is strange sometimes. You never know what's going to happen next. They sat quietly for a while, drinking coffee and listening to the sounds of the forest. An owl hooted somewhere nearby. The wind moved through the pine trees. It was very peaceful, but Sarah still felt worried. Tom, what if no one comes for the bag? What if we're stuck here forever? The old man said someone would come within a few days. We just have to wait and see. But what if the wrong person comes? What if those men in the black car find us? Tom looked at the bag. I guess we'll have to be very careful. We'll only give the bag to someone who says the special word. Butterfly, Sarah said quietly. Right, butterfly. They decided to take turns staying awake during the night. Tom would sleep first, while Sarah watched for any cars or people coming to the cabin. Then Sarah would sleep while Tom kept watch. Tom went to the bedroom and lay down on the bed. He was very tired after the long, strange day. But every time he closed his eyes, he saw the scared face of the old man. He wondered if the old man was safe. He wondered what was in the brown bag. It was so important. Sarah sat in the living room with the lights off. She could see the road through the front window. If anyone came to the cabin, she would see their car lights. She had Tom's phone and her phone ready to call for help if needed. The hours passed slowly. Sarah drank more coffee to stay awake. She read an old magazine she found on the table. She thought about her normal life and wondered when she would be able to go back to it. At 3 in the morning, Sarah saw lights coming up the road. Her heart started beating fast. A car was coming toward the cabin. She woke up Tom quickly. Tom! Someone's coming. Tom got up and looked out the window. A small white car was driving slowly up the road. It stopped in front of the cabin. The engine turned off, and the lights went out. "What should we do?" Sarah whispered. "Let's wait and see who it is." They watched. From the dark window, the car door opened, and someone got out. It was hard to see in the darkness. The person was small and moved slowly. It looked like an old woman. The woman walked to the front door of the cabin. She knocked 3 times, then waited, then knocked 3 times again. "Should we answer?" Sarah asked. "I don't know." The old man didn't say anything about a special knock. The woman knocked again. This time she spoke. "Hello? Is anyone there? I'm looking for the butterfly." Sarah and Tom looked at each other. The woman had said the special word, but they were still scared. What if this was a trick? Tom decided to answer. He went to the door, but did not open it. "Who are you?" "My name is Anna. I'm looking for my father, an old man with gray hair and a brown bag. Someone told me he might be here." "Your father?" "Yes. His name is David Shun. He's been missing since yesterday. I think he's in trouble." Sarah remembered Mrs. Chun, her neighbor who cooked dinner every night. Could this be related somehow? Tom opened the door slowly. The woman was indeed old, maybe 60 years old. She had kind eyes and looked worried. She was wearing a simple dress and carrying a small purse. "Are you Anna Chun?" Sarah asked. "Yes. How did you know my name?" "I live next door to Mrs. Chun in the city." "Are you related to her?" Anna smiled for the first time. "Mrs. Chun is my sister-in-law. She married my husband's brother many years ago." This made Sarah feel better. If Anna was related to Mrs. Chun, she was probably a good person. Mrs. Chun was always kind to Sarah and never caused any trouble. "Please come in," Tom said. "We need to talk." Anna came into the cabin. Sarah made tea while Tom told Anna the whole story about meeting her father and the 2 men in the black car. Anna listened carefully. When Tom finished, she sighed deeply. "I was afraid something like this would happen." "What do you mean?" Sarah asked. "My father used to work for the government many years ago. He had access to important information. He thought he had left that life behind, but apparently someone still wanted what he knew." Anna looked at the brown bag on the table. "Is that the bag my father gave you?" "Yes. He told me not to open it. He said to give it only to someone who said the word butterfly. Butterfly was my mother's nickname. My father called her that because she loved flowers and gardens." Anna reached for the bag, but Tom stopped her. "How do we know you're really his daughter?" "Those men might have forced him to tell them about the special word." Anna understood Tom's concern. She opened her purse and took out a photograph. It showed her standing next to the old man Tom had met. They were both smiling and standing in front of a house with a beautiful garden. "This was taken last month at my father's house," Anna said. "He still has the garden my mother planted before she died." Tom looked at the photograph. It was definitely the same old man who had given him the bag. Anna was telling the truth. "There's something else," Anna said. "My father has a small scar on his left hand from when he was young. Did you notice it?" Tom thought back to when he helped the old man pick up his groceries. "Yes, he had a scar that looked like a star." Anna nodded. "He cut his hand on a piece of glass when he was 7 years old. He's had that scar his whole life." Sarah and Tom were convinced. Anna was really David Shun's daughter. Tom gave her the brown bag. Anna held the bag carefully. "Thank you for keeping this safe. You both showed great courage. What's in the bag?" Sarah asked. Anna opened it slowly. Inside was a small metal box. Anna opened the box and showed them what was inside. There were old photographs, some papers, and a small key. "These are copies of documents my father worked with long ago. He kept them as insurance, in case someone ever tried to hurt our family. He never thought he would need them after all these years. Why do those men want them? Tom asked. Because these documents prove that some important people did bad things many years ago. If these papers became public, those people would go to jail. Anna closed the box and put it back in the bag. I need to take these to a safe place. My father and I have a plan for what to do if this day ever came. Is your father okay? Sarah asked. I don't know yet, but now that I have these documents, I have something to trade for his safety. Anna stood up to leave. You two should go back to your normal lives now. Forget this ever happened. Don't tell anyone about the bag or what was in it. Will you be safe? Tom asked. Anna smiled. Don't worry about me. I know how to handle this situation. My father taught me well. Anna left the cabin and drove away in her white car. Sarah and Tom watched her taillights disappear down the mountain road. Sarah and Tom drove back to the city as the sun came up over the mountains. The morning air was fresh and cool. They felt tired but happy. They had helped an old man and his daughter. The adventure was over, and they could go back to their normal lives. I need to go to work today, Tom said as they drove down the highway. My boss will be angry if I miss another day. Me too. The bookstore opens at 9, and I'm supposed to work until 5. They drove in comfortable silence for a while. The city appeared in the distance. Tall buildings reached up to the sky. Cars and trucks filled the roads. Everything looked normal and peaceful. Sarah dropped Tom off at his apartment building. I'll call you tonight, she said. We can have dinner and talk about normal things for a change. Tom laughed. That sounds perfect. No more mysterious bags or dangerous men. Sarah drove to her apartment. She parked on the street and walked up to her building. Mrs. Chun was outside, watering her small garden. She waved at Sarah. Good morning, Sarah. You look tired. Did you sleep well? Sarah remembered that Mrs. Chun was Anna's sister-in-law. She wondered if Mrs. Chun knew about David and the brown bag. But Anna had told them to forget everything and not tell anyone. I'm fine, Mrs. Chun. Just had a long night. Young people work too hard these days. You should rest more. Sarah smiled and went upstairs to her apartment. Everything looked the same as when she left, but somehow it felt different. The adventure had changed her. She had done something brave. An important. Sarah took a shower and got dressed for work. She ate breakfast and drank coffee. As she got ready to leave, her phone rang. It was an unknown number. Hello? Is this Sarah? Yes. Who is this? My name is Detective Williams. I'm with the city police. I need to ask you some questions about your friend Tom. Sarah's heart started beating fast. What about Tom? Is he okay? He's fine. But we need to talk to both of you about something that happened 2 days ago. Can you come to the police station? This morning? What's this about? I'd rather explain in person. Can you be here in an hour? Sarah agreed to come to the police station. She called Tom and told him about the phone call. Tom sounded worried. Maybe those men in the black car went to the police, Tom said. Maybe they're trying to get us in trouble. We didn't do anything wrong. We just helped an old man. I know, but what if the police don't believe us? Sarah and Tom met at the police station. Detective Williams was a middle-aged woman with short gray hair. She seemed kind, but serious. She took them to a small room with a table and chairs. I want to talk to you about David Chun, Detective Williams said. He was reported missing 2 days ago by his daughter. Sarah and Tom looked at each other. They knew they had to be careful about what they said. We don't know anyone named David Chun, Tom said. Detective Williams opened a folder and took out a photograph. It was the same old man who had given Tom the brown bag. Are you sure you've never seen this man before? Tom looked at the photograph. He wanted to tell the truth, but Anna had warned them not to talk about what happened. I might have seen him around the city, but I don't know him personally. Detective Williams studied Tom's face. Mr. Chun's daughter said he was carrying an important bag when he disappeared. She thinks someone might have taken it from him. We don't know anything about a bag, Sarah said. The detective looked at both of them for a long moment. Here's what I think happened. Mr. Chun was walking down 5th Street 2 days ago. Some men approached him and took his bag. There might have been witnesses. Detective Williams opened another folder. We found security camera footage from a store on 5th Street. It shows Mr. Chun falling down and dropping his groceries. Then it shows a young man helping him pick everything up. The detective turned the folder around so Tom could see the photograph from the security camera. It clearly showed Tom helping the old man. Tom knew he had been caught. There was no point in lying anymore. Okay, yes. I helped that old man pick up his groceries, but I didn't take anything from him. The camera also shows 2 men in dark suits approaching you and Mr. Chun. Then it shows Mr. Chun being taken away in a black car. What happened after that? Tom looked at Sarah. They had promised Anna they wouldn't tell anyone about the bag, but now the police knew most of the story already. The old man seemed scared of those 2 men, Tom said. He asked me to help him. How did he ask you to help him? Tom was quiet for a moment. He didn't want to get Anna in trouble, but he also didn't want to lie to the police. He gave me something to keep safe. He said someone would come to get it. Later, what did he give you? A brown bag. Detective Williams leaned forward. Where is that bag now? I gave it to someone who came to get it. A woman who said she was Mr. Chun's daughter. Can you describe this woman? Sarah spoke up. She was about 60 years old with gray hair. She said her name was Anna Chun. She had a photograph of herself with the old man. Detective Williams wrote notes in her notebook. When did you give her the bag? Last night. She came to find us and said the special word. What special word? Tom hesitated. Butterfly. The old man said only someone who knew that word should get the bag. Detective Williams closed her notebook. Mr. Chun is safe now. His daughter found him this morning. He's in the hospital, but he's going to be okay. Sarah felt relieved. What happened to him? Did those men hurt him? He was kept in a warehouse outside the city, but he's fine now. A little scared and tired, but not hurt. What about those men who took him? We arrested them this morning. They're part of a group that was trying to get some old documents from Mr. Chun. Detective Williams stood up. You 2 did the right thing by helping Mr. Chun. But next time something like this happens, you should call the police right away. Are we in trouble? Tom asked. No, you're not in trouble. You helped someone who needed help, but it could have been dangerous. Those men might have hurt you if they had found you. Sarah and Tom left the police station feeling much better. David Chun was safe and the bad men were in jail. Their adventure had ended well. They walked to a nearby cafe and ordered coffee and sandwiches. It felt good to sit in a normal place and do normal things. I'm glad Mr. Chun is okay, Sarah said. Me too. I was worried about him. As they ate their lunch, Tom's phone buzzed. He had received a text message from an unknown number. Thank you for helping my father. He is safe now because of you. Anna? Tom showed the message to Sarah. They both smiled. I wonder if we'll ever see them again, Sarah said. Probably not, but that's okay. We did something good, and that's what matters. After lunch, Sarah went to work at the bookstore. Her boss asked why she looked so tired. Sarah said she had stayed up late reading a very exciting book. It wasn't exactly a lie. Tom went to his office job. His coworkers asked where he had been the day before. Tom said he had been sick with a stomach problem. His boss was not happy, but didn't fire him. That evening, Sarah and Tom met for dinner at their favorite restaurant. They ordered pizza and talked about normal things: work, movies, the weather. It felt strange to have regular conversations after their big adventure. "Do you think we'll ever have another adventure like that?" Sarah asked. "I hope not," Tom laughed. "One adventure like that is enough for me. I like my boring, normal life." But as they walked home after dinner, both Sarah and Tom felt a little different than they had before. They had discovered they were braver than they thought. They had helped someone in need and made a difference. Sarah looked up at the stars in the sky. The city lights made them hard to see, but they were still there. "Sometimes good things happen when you help other people," she said. "Even when it's scary," Tom agreed. They said goodnight and went to their separate apartments. Sarah climbed the stairs to the 3rd floor. She could smell Mrs. Chun cooking dinner again. The smell of garlic and onions filled the hallway. Just like always, Sarah opened her door and turned on the lights. Her apartment looked exactly the same as it had 3 days ago, but Sarah felt like a different person. She had been part of something important and exciting. She made herself a cup of tea and sat on her couch. Tomorrow would be another normal day. She would go to work at the bookstore, help customers find books, and go to school in the evening. But now she knew that sometimes, when you least expect it, life can become an adventure. And sometimes, when someone needs help, you can be brave enough to help them, even when you're scared. Sarah looked at the daisies Tom had brought her 3 days ago. They were still on her coffee table, but now they were completely wilted. She picked them up and put them in the trash. Then she went to bed and slept peacefully, knowing she had done the right thing. The next morning, Sarah woke up to her alarm clock like always. She got dressed, ate breakfast, and got ready for work. As she walked down the stairs, she saw Mrs. Chun in the hallway. "Good morning, Sarah. How are you today?" "I'm very good, Mrs. Chun. How are you?" Mrs. Chun smiled mysteriously. "I'm excellent. My family had some good news yesterday. Sometimes when you think all hope is lost, good people appear to help you." Sarah smiled back. She wondered if Mrs. Chun knew more about the adventure than she let on. But it didn't matter. What mattered was that David Chun was safe and the bad men were in jail. "That's wonderful news, Mrs. Chun. I'm happy for your family." As Sarah walked to work, she noticed that the world looked a little brighter than usual. 3 weeks had passed since Sarah and Tom's adventure with David Chun and the brown bag. Life had returned to normal. Sarah worked at the bookstore during the day and went to school at night. Tom went to his office job and worried about normal things like paying bills and fixing his car. But sometimes, late at night, they would think about their adventure. They had helped save an old man and felt proud of what they had done. One Thursday evening, Sarah was walking home from school when she noticed something strange. A woman was sitting on a bench outside her apartment building. The woman was reading a newspaper, but Sarah could feel her watching. Sarah went inside and looked out her window. The woman was still there. She had dark hair and was wearing sunglasses. Even though it was getting dark, Sarah felt worried. Were the bad men's friends looking for them? Sarah called Tom. "There's a strange woman outside my building. She's been sitting there for an hour." "Maybe she's just waiting for someone," Tom said. "I don't think so. She keeps looking at my building." Tom was quiet for a moment. "I'll come over. Don't go outside until I get there." Tom arrived 20 minutes later. He parked his car and looked around. The woman was gone. Sarah met him at the front door of her building. "She left right after I called you," Sarah said. "Maybe I was just being worried for nothing." They went up to Sarah's apartment. Mrs. Chun was in the hallway getting her mail. She looked nervous when she saw them. "Hello, Sarah. Hello, Tom. Hi, Mrs. Chun. Is everything okay? You look upset. Mrs. Chun looked around the hallway. Can I talk to you both? In private? They went into Sarah's apartment. Mrs. Chun sat down on the couch and took a deep breath. Anna came to see me yesterday. She's David's daughter. She told me what you did for her father. Sarah and Tom looked at each other. They had promised not to talk about their adventure. Mrs. Chun, we don't know what you're talking about, Sarah said. Mrs. Chun smiled sadly. It's okay. You don't have to pretend with me. Anna told me everything. How you helped David when those men took him. How you kept the bag safe. How you met Anna at the cabin in the mountains. Tom sat down across from Mrs. Chun. Why is Anna telling people about this? She said we should forget it ever happened. Because there's a problem. The men who were arrested last week have friends. These friends are looking for David and Anna. They're also looking for you. Sarah felt scared. What do they want from us? They think you might know where David and Anna are hiding. Or they think you might have copies of the documents that were in the bag. Mrs. Chun reached into her purse and took out an envelope. Anna asked me to give this to you. Tom opened the envelope. Inside was a letter written in neat handwriting. Dear Sarah and Tom, I hope you are both safe and well. I'm sorry to tell you that you might still be in danger. The men who were arrested have friends who want revenge. These friends might try to find you. My father and I have had to leave the city and go into hiding. We wanted to warn you to be very careful. If anything strange happens, call Detective Williams right away. Thank you again for everything you did for us. Anna. Sarah read the letter twice. Mrs. Chun, how long have you known about David's past? For many years. David is my husband's older brother. When he worked for the government, he sometimes had to do dangerous things. Our family always worried about him. Tom folded the letter and put it back in the envelope. What should we do? Anna said you should change your routines for a while. Don't go to the same places at the same times every day. Be careful who you trust. And if you see anyone watching, you call the police. Mrs. Chun stood up to leave. I'm sorry you got involved in this. David feels terrible that he put you in danger. After Mrs. Chun left, Sarah and Tom sat quietly in the apartment. Their peaceful life had been disturbed again. Maybe we should go away for a while, Sarah said. Take a vacation until this all settles down. I can't take time off work. I already missed too many days. Then what do we do? Tom thought for a moment. We be very careful. We watch for anything strange. And we help each other stay safe. The next morning, Sarah decided to take a different route to work. Instead of walking down her usual street, she took a longer path through the park. The morning was sunny and birds were singing in the trees. She felt a little better being outside in the daylight. At the bookstore, Sarah's boss noticed she seemed nervous. Is everything okay, Sarah? You keep looking out the window. I'm fine, just tired. But Sarah wasn't fine. Every time the door opened, she looked to see who was coming in. Every time someone asked her a question, she wondered if they were really just customers or if they were looking for information about her. Around lunchtime, a man came into the bookstore. He was tall and thin with dark hair. He wore a nice suit and expensive shoes. He looked like the kind of man who might work in an office building downtown. Excuse me, the man said to Sarah. I'm looking for some books about local history, specifically about government buildings and offices from the 1980s. Sarah felt her heart start beating faster. Why would someone want books about government? Buildings from the 1980s? That was around the time David Chun worked for the government. We have a section about local history over there. Sarah pointed to the back of the store. The man walked to the history section. But instead of looking at books, he kept glancing at Sarah. She pretended to be busy organizing books near the front counter, but she was actually watching him. After a few minutes, the man came back to the counter. "Do you have any books about people who worked for the government in the 1980s? Maybe books with photographs or names of employees?" Now Sarah was sure this man was not a normal customer. "I don't think we have anything like that. You might try the public library." The man smiled, but his smile didn't look friendly. "Thank you. By the way, you look familiar. Do I know you from somewhere?" "I don't think so." Well, maybe I'll see you around." The man left the bookstore. Sarah immediately called Tom. A strange man just came to the bookstore, asking weird questions. I think he was looking for information about me. "What kind of questions?" Sarah told Tom about the man's questions about government workers from the 1980s. Tom agreed it sounded suspicious. "I'm coming to get you," Tom said. "We should go to the police station and talk to Detective Williams." Tom picked up Sarah from the bookstore. Sarah's boss was not happy that she was leaving work early, but Sarah said it was a family emergency at the police station. Detective Williams listened to their story about the strange man and Anna's warning. "Letter, you were right to come here," Detective Williams said. "We've been watching for exactly this kind of thing." "What do you mean?" "The men we arrested last week were part of a larger group. We knew their friends might try to find the people who helped David Chun." Detective Williams opened a file on her desk. "We've been keeping an eye on you and Tom, just to make sure you stay safe, but we can't watch you every minute of every day." "What should we do?" "For the next few weeks, we're going to give you some protection. Plainclothes police officers. We'll check on you regularly. We'll also give you special phone numbers to call if you see anything suspicious." Detective Williams gave them each a card with emergency phone numbers. "Don't try to handle this yourselves. If you see anyone watching you or asking strange questions, call us immediately." That evening, Sarah and Tom went to dinner at a restaurant they had never been to before. They sat at a table where they could see the door and watch everyone who came in. "I can't believe we're still dealing with this," Sarah said. "I thought it was over." "Maybe we should have minded our own business that day on 5th Street. Sarah shook her head. "No, we did the right thing. David Chun needed help, and we helped him. We can't regret that." As they ate dinner, Tom noticed a woman at a table across the restaurant. She was eating alone, but seemed to be paying more attention to them than to her food. "Don't look now, but there's a woman over there who keeps staring at us." Sarah pretended to look around the restaurant casually. The woman was middle-aged with short blonde hair. She was wearing normal clothes and looked like any other customer. But when Sarah looked at her, the woman quickly looked away. "Should we leave?" Sarah asked. "Let's finish eating and see what she does." They ate their dinner slowly, talking quietly, and watching the woman. When they were ready to leave, the woman got up at the same time. She left money on her table and walked toward the door. Tom and Sarah waited a few minutes before leaving the restaurant. When they went outside, they looked around but didn't see the woman anywhere. Maybe she really was just another customer. Sarah said dot, but as they walked to Tom's car, they heard footsteps behind them. Someone was following them. Tom looked back and saw the blonde woman from the restaurant walking about 20 feet behind them. "She's following us," Tom whispered to Sarah. They walked faster. The woman walked faster too. When they reached Tom's car, the woman was still behind them. Tom quickly unlocked the car and they got in. As Tom started the engine, the woman walked past the car. She looked directly at them through the window and smiled. It was not a friendly smile. Tom drove away quickly. He took several different turns to make sure the woman wasn't following them in a car. "We need to call Detective Williams," Sarah said. Drove to the police station. Detective Williams was working late and met with them immediately. Sarah woke up the next morning to the sound of her phone ringing. It was still early, and the sun was just coming up. She looked at the clock. It was 6 in the morning. "Hello?" Sarah answered sleepily. "Sarah, this is Detective Williams. I need you and Tom to come to the police station right away. Something has happened." Sarah sat up in bed. "What's wrong? Are we in danger?" "I'll explain everything when you get here. Can you call Tom and both come in within the hour?" "Yes, we'll be there." Sarah called Tom and told him about Detective Williams' call. Tom sounded worried but said he would pick her up in 30 minutes. Sarah got dressed quickly and made coffee. She looked out her window and saw the police car was still parked across the street. That made her feel a little better. Tom arrived exactly 30 minutes later. He looked tired and nervous. "Do you think they caught the people who were following us?" "I hope so. Maybe this nightmare is finally over." They drove to the police station in silence. Both of them were thinking about what Detective Williams might tell them. The morning traffic was light, and they arrived quickly. Detective Williams met them at the front desk and took them to her office. She had several files on her desk and looked like she had been working all night. "I have good news and bad news," Detective Williams began. "The good news is that we caught 2 people who were watching you yesterday. The blonde woman from the restaurant and the man who came to your bookstore." Sarah felt relieved. "That's great news. The bad news is that these people told us something important. The group looking for you is larger than we thought. And they're not just looking for you because you helped David Shun." Tom leaned forward. "What do you mean?" "Detective." Williams opened one of the files. "The documents that David Shun had were more important than we originally thought. They contain information about illegal activities that happened 20 years ago. Some very powerful people were involved in these activities." "What kind of illegal activities?" Sarah asked. "Money stolen from the government, weapons sold to dangerous groups, important secrets given to enemy countries. The people involved became very rich and powerful over the years." Detective Williams showed them photographs of several men in expensive suits. "These people are still alive and still powerful. If David Shun's documents become public, these men will lose everything. They might even go to jail for the rest of their lives." Tom studied the photographs. "So they're trying to find David and Anna to stop them from using the documents." "Exactly. But they also think you might have copies of the documents. Or they think you might know where David and Anna are hiding." Sarah felt scared again. "But we don't know any of that. We gave Anna the bag and never saw what was inside until she showed us." "I know that, and you know that, but these people don't believe it. They think David might have given you backup copies of the documents." Detective Williams closed the file. "Here's what we're going to do. We're going to move you to a safe house for a few days while we catch the rest of these people." "A safe house?" Tom asked. "A secret location where you'll be protected by police officers 24 hours a day. You'll be completely safe there." Sarah thought about her job at the bookstore and her classes at school. "How long will we have to stay there?" "Hopefully just a few days. We have leads on where the rest of the group is hiding. We should be able to arrest them soon." An hour later, Sarah and Tom were in the back of an unmarked police car driving out of the city. Detective Williams sat in the front seat with the police officer who was driving. The safe house was a small cottage on a lake about 2 hours from the city. It was surrounded by trees and had a long driveway that could only be reached by one road. 2 police officers were already there waiting for them. "This is Officer Martinez and Officer Johnson." Detective Williams introduced them. "They'll be staying here with you to make sure you're safe." The cottage was comfortable and well supplied with food and books. There was a television and a radio for news, The windows had special glass that was very strong and hard to break. You can go outside, but don't go too far from the cottage, Officer Martinez explained. Always tell us where you're going and take these radios with you. Detective Williams prepared to leave. I'll call you every day with updates. Hopefully this will all be over soon, and you can go back to your normal lives. After Detective Williams left, Sarah and Tom explored the cottage. It had 2 bedrooms, a kitchen, a living room, and a small office with a computer. The lake outside was beautiful and peaceful. At least it's a nice place to hide, Sarah said, looking out at the water. I just want this to be over, Tom replied. I want to go back to worrying about normal things like work and paying bills. That evening, they sat on the porch and watched the sun set over the lake. Officer Martinez and Officer Johnson took turns watching the road and checking the security cameras around the cottage. Sarah, Tom said quietly, do you ever wonder what would have happened if we had just walked away that day? If we had ignored the old man and minded our own business? Sarah thought about it, sometimes, but then I remember how scared David looked. He needed help, and we were the only people there to help him. Even knowing everything that's happened since then, would you do it again? Yes, I would do it again. The next morning, Detective Williams called with an update. We arrested 3 more people last night. We're getting closer to catching the whole group. How many more are there? Sarah asked. We think maybe 5 or 6 people left, but these are the most dangerous ones. The leaders of the group. Sarah felt discouraged. It seemed like this would never end. That afternoon, Sarah and Tom took a walk around the lake. Officer Johnson came with them, staying a short distance behind. The day was warm and sunny. Fish jumped in the water and birds sang in the trees. This would be a nice place for a vacation, Sarah said, if we weren't hiding from dangerous people. As they walked, Tom noticed something strange. Sarah, look across the lake. Do you see that boat? Sarah looked where Tom was pointing. A small motorboat was moving slowly across the lake. 2 people were in the boat, and one of them seemed to be looking at the cottage through binoculars. Officer Johnson, Tom called. There's a boat on the lake. Officer Johnson looked at the boat and immediately got on his radio. This is Johnson at the safe house. We have a possible threat on the water. Request immediate backup. Get back to the cottage now, Officer Johnson told Sarah and Tom. Stay low and move fast. They hurried back to the cottage. Officer Martinez met them at the door and quickly brought them inside. All the curtains were closed, and the officers checked their weapons. What's happening? Sarah asked. That boat might be nothing, Officer Martinez said. But we can't take any chances. They watched through the windows as the boat moved around the lake. The people in the boat seemed to be studying the cottage and the surrounding area. Officer Johnson's radio crackled. Backup is on the way. Stay in position and keep the subjects safe. 20 minutes later, 2 police boats appeared on the lake. They moved quickly toward the suspicious boat. Sarah and Tom watched from the window as the police boats surrounded. The other boat, the radio crackled again. We have them. 2 suspects in custody. The threat is neutralized. Officer Martinez smiled. Looks like we got 2 more of them. Detective Williams arrived an hour later with more news. The people in the boat had weapons and surveillance equipment. They were definitely planning to attack the cottage. How did they find us? Tom asked. We're not sure yet, but we're questioning them now. This might give us the information we need to catch the rest of the group. That evening, Detective Williams called with the best news yet. The people we caught today told us where the leaders of the group are hiding. We're planning to arrest them tomorrow morning. Does that mean we can go home soon? Sarah asked. If everything goes well tomorrow, yes. You should be able to go home tomorrow evening. Sarah and Tom felt hopeful for the first time in days. Maybe their ordeal was finally coming to an end. The next morning, Sarah woke up to the sound of Detective Williams' voice on Officer Martinez's radio. Operation successful. All suspects in custody. The safe house is clear to return the subjects to the city. Sarah and Tom hugged each other. They were finally safe. 2 hours later, they were back in the city. Detective Williams drove them to the police station for a final meeting. The entire group has been arrested, Detective Williams announced. The leaders confessed to everything. They were planning to kidnap you and force you to tell them where David and Anna were hiding. What happens now? Tom asked. Now you go back to your normal lives. The case is closed. You don't have to worry about these people anymore. Detective Williams handed them each an envelope. This is from David and Anna Chun. They asked me to give these to you. Sarah opened her envelope. Inside was a handwritten letter and a check for $5,000. Dear Sarah, the letter read, thank you for saving my father's life and for being so brave. I know this experience has been difficult for you. Please use this money to take a vacation or do something special for yourself. You deserve it. With gratitude, Anna-chan. Tom's letter was similar, also with a check for $5,000. We can't take this money, Sarah said. We didn't help David for money.